All right, everybody. We are very fortunate to get some more time to talk about because there was so much to unpack here with the great Boston Rob Mariano. Rob, how are you?
Thanks, Rob. I'm doing great, man. I'm glad because I know that you are passionate about this and your audience, and I think we needed a little bit more than 10 minutes to kind of go
Good.
through
Yeah,
it
not
because you
enough
guys.
time.
Yeah, well, you got the real fans on your platform, and I think they're interested more instead of like just the soundbite that a lot of these outlets are looking for.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So,
Pooya and I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us more about. Hey, I saw you post last night on Thursday. You were yawning. What happened? You were getting
uh,
tired during
oh,
the show?
I just there was something was missing. I don't know what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but there was something missing from the round table, I think.
Yeah. Look, you said it, not me. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah. I thought it would be good to go back with you that we have some extra time. Maybe go back from like the beginning and talk about some of the earlier things that happened in the season. And we talked a little bit about the twist of how you came into the game. But can you talk a little bit through your thought process of you came in, you were one of the cage boys, you knew you were a traitor. Could you talk a little bit about like what it was like for you to start off in that position?
Yeah, so I mean, like obviously I'm entering this game with a reputation with a target. And it's interesting from my point of view, it's like I don't really watch the Bravo world, so I don't know any of these guys, but a lot of them are familiar with me and my work, right? So initially, you know, first like being the masked traitor, and it's great. They put me on a pedestal and like, yeah, I'm the man. But at the same time, I'm like, this is never gonna work. This is just going to irritate them, right? Because nobody in their right mind would shake his hand. Like optimally, that wouldn't make sense. So then they put us in the cage, and I'm like, oh no, now I'm being forced upon them after they already didn't want me, you know? So it's interesting. Like I said in a few interviews, but to go a little bit deeper, there is a correct way to play Traitors. There's a correct way to play Survivor. There's a correct way to play Deal or No Deal Island. All of these shows, there's an optimal way, right? But for me, that doesn't apply because of my reputation. I have to play a game that suits me
Mm-hmm.
based on other people's perceptions. So going in there to get back to what you're talking about, I know I'm going to have a target and they're just making it bigger. And it's like, okay, this is what I have to deal with. How do I harness that and kind of turn it to use it in my favor? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like I'm on an island out there in Scotland. That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I know the perception of the other survivor people. I mean, you heard it in their initial interviews. Like they don't want me there. I get it. I know why. You know what I mean? Because it's not only are you gonna have to fight like if I'm good or bad, but like while I'm there, like it's taking away from them and while they're there. And that's just a part of like the meta game that's beyond, right? Where these people are worried about not only getting murdered or banished, but they're worried about their airtime and whether or not they're going to get seen and heard. And, I think the saving grace, what allowed me to not be, taken out right away was the fact that they did make me a traitor. But even going into that situation, right? If you break it down, even the way the whole traders went into the turret is like there's something to be learned there. Initially, only Bob and Danielle went into the turret. And it wasn't until moments later that Carolyn joined as a third in the turret. So you know how important the initial right away reaction is when you meet somebody in these games, when you form those first bonds, those first alliances. So even though it was only maybe 24 hours later I come into the game, I'm already an outsider.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of that and I know that. So going into the turret, Bob, the drag queen, and Danielle are 1 and 2. And they see Carolyn as the outsider. And then all of a sudden I come in. Now I'm really, really the outsider. Fast forward to everything that happens with Bob the drag queen and eliminating him. Now Danielle is threatened. She already didn't want me there because of my reputation. I can read the room, Rob. I've been doing it for 20 something years, you know? And incorrectly, she perceived me and Carolyn, because we're from the same show,
Yep.
as a huge threat. It's weird, and you'll only understand this reference if you understand the history, and I know you do from way back. But the first time Amber and I did the Amazing Race in season 7, all the other contestants were so fixated on just Amber and I and getting us out. We got to get them out. We got to get them out. It had nothing to do with the show. In the turret, the very first time I was there, I felt the exact same thing from Danielle Reyes. And her game seemed singularly focused on eliminating me versus doing whatever. And I saw that play out. So that's
Yeah.
a
And
little bit of how it started from my point of view.
do you think the fact that, because she was very clearly fixated on you, Rob, so much so that she comes up with this plan of, in order to weaken you, she wants to get out Carolyn to then recruit a
Yeah.
new person to then. So do you think that's what derails her game? Is the fixation on you instead of trying to make it work, or not really put all the focus priority on that?
Yeah, partially you're correct, Leah. Like it's partially that, but again, like let's dive into the meta and see the game beyond at another level, or what I can see or what I perceive anyway. She feels outnumbered in the turret once Bob's gone. She sees
Mhm.
that as I executed her number one. She had her people. And it was easy for me to figure out who her people were, because in the turret, I would suggest different names. And as soon as she would be like, no, no, not that person, not that person, for no reason other than the fact that I knew she wanted to work with that person and make an alliance with them, some kind of an end game strategy. So she's trying to build her alliance. And it was clear to me that her alliance was herself, Brittany, Derek, Dolores, and Bob the drag queen.
Mhm.
Those were her people, and I could see it. It was clear as day. Like I said, like for someone else that doesn't play these games, they don't see it as much. It the rules of being a trader. You can't tell anyone else that you're a traitor. Right? You can go after another traitor if you do from a position of a faithful, but you can't blatantly tell someone that you're a traitor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so obvious to me when I saw the scene play out on TV when she's in the breakfast room with Brittany, and like when she tried to throw Carolyn under the bus, that she was trying to tell Brittany that she was a traitor. She didn't say it, but she was trying to do that so that they could protect each other. And it just felt like I was able to see her game, and I don't think she thought I could. And I for that those are the reasons why I say I think she was a bad trader. Of course, with a lot of the decisions that she made, the bad acting, the shaking, which kind of worked for her, but like a lot more people, even though they're not saying it, like a lot more people suspected her, you know?
Yeah. I'd love to go back to the roundtable where Tony got banished. And, you didn't really throw Tony under the bus, but you spoke up and Tony seemed to take offense to that. On the
Yeah.
way out, he said about you, he said, "You're a sellout, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that, were you confused? Why did Tony think you were a sellout?
I think he was hurt because of what I said at the round table. Understandably so, right? But like Tony's a smart player, right? So there's a couple different theories I have in my head as to why he feels the way he does about anything. But like, I totally understand the idea or the notion to keep the gamers together, to have the numbers, because really it's a numbers game, right? That's the
Yeah.
flaw of Traitors, right? If you could, in a perfect world, make a pregame alliance with 10 people, you could say, listen, some of us are going to be traitors, some of us are going to be faithful. No matter what happens, we don't go after each other. And then once those 10 are gone, we'll fight it out. Because, you know, even if we do find the traitors earlier, what's going to happen? They're gonna recruit more traitors, and the game's just going to keep going. So in that respect, I get it, and like that's my initial thought, is to keep the people that I know together, right? Like I had no problems, and I gave Tony the shield for two reasons. Um, One was to make him feel safe, to make him think that I was on his side, and two, that if there was a situation where I had to get him, that he wouldn't see it coming because he felt safe, right? And three, really, because I would think he's smart enough to know that if he's not a traitor, that there's a good chance that I am, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of gives him a little bit, like, just makes him feel safe in the moment. Um, but again, look at the situation I'm in. I'm fourth into this turret, and like my forethought going into this season, going into this game, is I don't want to have to play the way I played, like with the Bob the Drag Queen stuff and the West stuff, and to like, I'm just gonna let them do their thing. And I did, you know. I even let them kill Jeremy, which I didn't want them to kill Jeremy.
Yeah.
And I let it happen. But, you know, okay, so anyway, we're going too far. But to get back to specifically the Tony stuff, I maintain I got there a day late, and because I did, that was already done. That was already going in that direction. And Tony knows that. And I think I heard him say it in an interview or something, that, like, whatever. I think Tony's more mad because he thinks that, like, I took the credit for getting him out, which I don't. And I don't, like, care about that. But
Hey, you voted for Tony to win $2 million.
of course I did. I thought he played a really great
Yeah.
game. And I got no problems with Tony, but I don't have like a relationship with Tony outside of the game. I haven't spoke with him since we left that night in Fiji. Maybe we might have played poker one day. I heard him say that. I don't remember. Like we did. We went to an event in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wendell had. But I don't have a relationship where I talk to Tony. I didn't talk to him before, whatever. So what happened in that situation, I maintain that Tony was going anyway. Everybody was voting for Tony. And I was going to keep my mouth shut at the round table. It was like the first round table that I had to vote at. Why would I say anything? I still don't know anything, whatever. But Bob Harper pressed me to say something. He goes, Rob, you haven't said, like, you know, Bob Harper, like he pressed Tony early. He's pressing me. What do you think? What do you think? So now let's just take a minute, and instead of like, and this is why I think Tony's like should really like be past this and advance past this, because he has the ability to think and think through my eyes. Look at it from my point of view. What are my options? I'm either A, the only other person that's getting any heat is Bob the Drag Queen. I'm going to pile on Bob the Drag Queen, my fellow traitor. B, I'm going to randomly go at somebody else and make an enemy. Or C, I'm going to pig pile on Tony.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I know Jeremy went at Tom Sandoval, and Tom was like an easy target, but Tom wasn't like, you know, like I had no history with him. I didn't know who he was, to be honest with you. So I did. I went at Tony because, you know, that seemed like the smartest thing for me to do in the moment. And I think his feelings were hurt, and he was like, "You're a sellout because we're supposed to play together," and I gave him the thing, but I don't know. He's gonna get over it. He's gonna look at it at some point and think, you know, it's okay.
What if it
I
was
don't know,
flipped?
maybe
You
not.
said that either you or him was going to be the traitor. If he was the traitor and you were a faithful, how do you think you would have done as one of the faithful?
I think I would have probably been banished early, you know. Um, I think like really like looking back on it, like the optimal move for everybody else in that castle when I got up there to shake hands. somebody like Brittany or Danielle, somebody that had history, should have shaken my hand and brought me in, and then immediately banished me.
Yeah.
That would have been the play, right? Like to new, like not for me, not good for me, but that
Mhm.
would have been a smart, optimal play. Um, you know, it's a hard game because like you have to always worried about being killed. So you want to be good as a faithful, but not too good early, right? Like at the same time, you can't just sit there and be a fly on the wall. Otherwise, I mean, you can, but it doesn't really make exciting TV, you know? So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest between like what I would, how I would want to play versus like what I think would be the smartest and best way to play. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it would be a tough spot for you because you might be able to get like, okay, you got your Dylans and your Chrishelles, and you might have been able to like form a group that like was really like, okay, we're working together, we're gonna find the traitor. But then the traitors are gonna kill you because you've
Exactly.
got a
That's
bunch
what
of
I just
people that
said.
you're working with.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
like there was like somebody in the turret, like Tony is like, you know, I gotta keep Rob. You know, somebody you'd need like a guardian angel, like who was like, hey, I gotta keep this guy safe.
Yeah. I think that's like part of like a little bit of the conundrum of the show is that like as a faithful you have to be good but you can't be too good and you
Mhm.
almost have to kind of back end your way into it. You know, Sari played so good the first season, but Sari played with half the cast of people that didn't know how to play. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to take anything away from her because I thought she played great. But the game is immensely harder when you have not only people that understand the strategic dynamic, but multiple people that understand that. Then it becomes a um, a lesson of what level are you playing on, right? And like I kind of feel like that was my undoing a little bit. Like I set it up so that like why would I ever go after the person that went after me? And still it's funny because you see on social media the comments, some of the people that don't understand the different levels of psychology, they're like, well, yeah, you murdered three people that came at you. I was like, that's exactly why it
That's
wouldn't be
Sandoval
me.
level. Yeah.
Right. But then you go back down to it, it's like, well, that is why, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
mean, I think for the people that don't understand it, the thing I've been saying to them is, but who do you know that's been able to successfully do that like 3 rounds in a row and still be there? And I think that was the big thing, right? Was that you didn't do it once, you didn't do it twice. You continuously were taking out people that had your name in their mouth and then surviving to tell the tale the next day. And it was pretty interesting to see to me.
Thank you. And I could have done it again. I truly could have. I could have gotten Danielle banished at the last round table where I went after Brittany. But in my mind, I realized that, you know, if I got Danielle out, they would get me out next only because I was public number enemy number one to be recruited.
Mhm.
I was the person that would be recruited. Everybody would think, oh, you're such a good hunter. They want to recruit you. So I'm trying to make the impossible work versus the other way where I did not see a path forward. I think if like there's a situation where someone was recruited and I was still in the game, they would immediately banish me the next round table because they would assume and I would assume that I would be recruited as well, you know?
Yeah. We didn't
So
get to talk too much the other day about your relationship with Carolyn, just that she was very paranoid while she was up there. Was there ever a
yeah.
point when you felt like that, okay, I'm having like really good conversations with Carolyn?
No, never. Not in the game. And it's unfortunate because I really wanted to work with her. So it was hard in the beginning, right? And this is what made it harder is the Bob the drag queen situation. When I got him banished and went at him that night, I knew that in order to do it, I had to give them both a heads up, right? And I did. And Danielle immediately put up a blockade. And she goes, yeah, yeah, but that's not happening tonight. And I could tell instantly, Rob, I could tell that no matter what, there was no amount of convincing that I was going to do that was going to do that. And had I pushed the issue with her, there's a good chance she would have went and told him. And I needed it to be a surprise in order to, like, you know, be able to carry it out. But with Carolyn, I wanted so bad to let her know, and I tried to, you know, and you saw me say, "Look, I'm telling you 100%, it's me and you." But she understood my history from Survivor, and she doesn't want to be Philip, and she's so cognizant of, like, I don't want to be one of Rob's goats where he's in the thing making fun of me and whatever. And because she didn't hear or perceive what Bob said as much of a threat as I did, she just saw it as an ego and power move. Like, since then, we've had conversations, and she's told me, she's like,
Yeah.
I'm completely sorry. I totally read it wrong, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, and I would have, but it's also impossible in the Traitors production setting to have one-on-one conversations. It's just really hard, and if you do, it's like, you know, like
Yeah.
just whispering and you're off. So unfortunately, we weren't able to do that as much as I really wanted to, because I like Carolyn, and Carolyn's super smart. She really is. Like, a lot of it is more calculated than you see,
Yeah.
you know? A little bit of it is definitely paranoia, but there, it's not like she's not, as Bob Harper said, batshit. Not at
No.
all. Yeah.
You know, you brought up about you didn't want Jeremy to be killed. Could you have done anything different in terms of not getting him to the box or putting up a bigger fight to save Jeremy?
So I think we talked about this a little bit, but the situation there was 3 out of the 4 of us had to be in that room in order to shortlist the
Yeah.
people for murder. And Danielle was dead set on getting Jeremy out because he said her name, which, you know, of course is horrible, even though that's exactly what I did, but it was a different situation. Um, there's nothing I could have done. I mean, I could have, like, it wouldn't have mattered because I'm new. I'm the new guy. So if
Yeah.
all of a sudden I start putting up a fight to save other Survivor people, you see what's going to happen?
Mhm.
They're going to, you know, look at that as like I'm trying to save my people. And I didn't want to cause waves early. I wanted to just kind of go with it. So I let it go, and I guess I could have done a better job. I didn't want to cause the waves yet, though. Like I was gonna say, I could have done a better job of impressing upon to Carolyn that Bob and Danielle were ready to put her in the coffin because she didn't know that, you know.
Mhm.
And I think when I told her, she didn't believe me because I told her after I killed, you know, or banished Bob the drag queen.
Yeah.
So it's all revisionist at this point with her.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with the other Cage boys in Wes and Derek. It seemed like that coming in that you had a good rapport, but they started having their doubts about you. So what was it like working with those guys?
Yeah, they're both really perceptive and smart. Like Wes, really, really good gamer, and Derek also. And like that's the thing. Like I can recognize like when somebody has it and when they know, you know. So man, we almost murdered Wes earlier. Like, but Robin, I felt like Robin was coming at me too, but we almost got rid of Wes then. But I was like, the longer the 3 of us are here, the better. But I knew that they would perceive one of us to be a traitor. And it wasn't so much of an issue until, you know, after the roundtable when I went out after Bob and Wes says, "Oh, how would somebody know
Right.
100% that somebody's a traitor?" And it was really smart. And then the next day, Ivor told me that story, and I was like, "Fuck, Wes would know if he's a traitor," and like flipped it back, and that's why he's like, "I know, yeah." Um, But where they caught me by surprise was at that round table. I expected Wes to come at me. I didn't expect Derek to come at me. And when Derek came at me, it took me by surprise. And what you have to understand is like going back to the Bob the Drag Queen banishment, it was so much more intense than you even saw. There was so much back and forth. And I started the argument against Bob the Drag Queen by saying, like it was going between Nikki and Sierra, and I steered it back. And I started it by saying, the optimal way to play this game is the way Sari did the first season. It was masterful. As a trader, you keep your mouth shut, you're quiet, you kind of listen, you don't talk a lot. You definitely don't play the game from a position of being aggressive and out front and talking and promoting theories and everything, unless you're someone like Bob the Drag Queen, who has that ability. He's a performer, and it's making sense, it's making sense. And then I give all the reasons why. And then all of a sudden, Bob tries to turn it around on me. And he's like, everything he's saying applies to him. It applies to him. And I like interrupted him. And like, it's supposed to be a rule, only one person talking at a time. I go, you see what he's doing? That's the mirror technique. He's mirroring it back to me. I know this from years of playing poker and everything else. And everybody's like, ooh, so when fast forward to when Derek comes at me in that round table, I think he thought that I was going to turn it back on him. He actually told me that he did.
Yeah.
And in the moment, I recognized that. And Rob, the easiest way to end an argument is to agree with the person.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, shit. I was like, I got to come up with something quick. And I was like, you know what, Derek? I actually agree with you. And I didn't want to say it because I know like one of us is going to be in trouble here. But I do think one of the three of us are traitors. I know it's not me, and I actually don't think it's you. I actually think it's Wes, and Wes wasn't expecting that, and like for all the reasons, we turned it on to him. And then like the round table, it's tough for a lot of people. They can't handle that pressure. Not that Wes can't handle pressure, because he can, and he's really good. But somebody said something, or he responded in an aggressive way towards someone. And then it turned into that, and I was like, "Oh, good, heat's off." I live again. And then I had to decide whether I wanted to kill Derek or move on. And that was a whole other thing. And there were definitely other options, but we chose the one we did.
Yeah. Why? What would you have chose different if you could?
I mean, I had a few different ideas. I thought if I could figure out a way to leave Derek in the game and get rid of someone else, and then banish Danielle next, and then recruit Derek, and then banish Derek, then the heat would be off of me, right?
Right.
But it was like like I didn't think I could let Derek go another cycle, because I think he's just going to come at me again.
Yeah, you were painted in a corner there. You also posted on social media that you said you love the round table. You feel like a gladiator in the arena.
Yeah.
I was wondering, and you were very good at it, that to me, you almost seemed like that you were a lawyer sometimes, that you were like making your case and then, prosecuting the case, which seems like that would be something new, knowing your background. Is that from poker? Is that tribal council? Like where do you think?
I don't know where it's from, but my parents my whole life told me that I should be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like maybe like you listen to your mom and dad because they know. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but like my whole life, whether it was like sports or reality TV or anything, it feels like when I have pressure inside of me, I feel like I do better. I get calm and I can focus and I do it. But like if I don't have the pressure, like I don't care. It's like I don't put the effort. Maybe it's because I'm lazy. I don't know. But I don't feel like I am. But like I do like I remember I went to school, I got a degree in psychology, but I also for a while was going to school for human physiology, and I thought I was going to be a doctor. And there's something called the fight or flight mechanism, and it
Yeah.
has to do with the release of different chemicals in your brain, norepinephrine and serotonin, the blood brain barrier. And some people, when they're faced with this stressful situation, they flee. They get scared. They get a feeling inside and it's paranoid. And other people, they get like, okay, that's the adrenaline rush. Let's go. Let's fight. And all I can tell you is I've always had the fight. Like I've always had that. And I think it's just the way I was born because I like the round table and I like being able to put pressure on different people. And I can see, and maybe some of it's from poker because there's a lot that, like, like goes along with it. And like when you recognize the situation and you're able to like, it feels like it's so easy. Like you just pressing buttons and you know where to push and where not to get what you want. Yeah.
Pooya, you got anything else for Rob?
I do. I feel like this is a question that has been asked of the cast before, so I wanted to ask it of you, Rob. You've been on many a seasons, many a shows. I wanted you, and now you've played the game. Can you pick three people from your reality TV past that you would like to see on a future season of The Traitors that could hack it?
I mean, a lot of people have asked me this question. Um, there are a lot of people in the reality TV world that I think would be good on it, but like I would like to see them cast a real poker player,
Okay.
not a poker player that, says they're a poker player. I have friends that are some of the best in the world. Daniel Negreanu's won
Sure.
$50
I was gonna
million
say,
playing. My buddy Josh Aryeh, Hall of Fame guys like Phil Hellmuth. Like to see these guys, one of those three in this situation, I think would be incredible. It would be like a real study of not only strategy but really human psychology and see if that translated, because like the reality TV people, they're great, but like I feel like it's more individual based, right? Like different shows, like there's the argument that the Big Brother people can't handle the pressure of the round table, but like truthfully, like Parvati, who's great on Survivor, like admittedly, like she wasn't great in the turret and at the round table. And some people, and that's no shade on Parvati. Like I love Parvati; she's a great, great player and
Killing
gamer,
it on Dondi.
killing it on Dondi. But like I think she'll admit that like the round table wasn't her forte. And I feel like poker players in general, like a lot of them, they understand like that baseline and how to keep it even keel and like when to apply the pressure and when not to. So I'd love to
Yeah.
see like Daniel or Josh on one of these specifically. Those two guys are my guys.
What's next for you, Rob? Now you've done the Traitors, you did
Yeah.
Dondi. Do they have to invent a
Vacation.
new show?
Vacation.
Vacation? I think you just got back from vacation.
I did. I'm enjoying playing golf. I don't know, dude. Like truthfully, I
More
always felt,
celebrity home renovation?
yeah, I love doing the celebrity renovation. Like I love working in construction. I put in a new bathroom in one of my rental houses yesterday.
Yeah.
But I always thought at some point that I would transition to hosting something. I really did. Like I thought like that would be, like the evolution. But like, and I said this a few times, but like truthfully, this last year, like with Dondi and with Traders, it made me realize how much like I love to actually compete. So I don't know, like I can't obviously keep doing, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like how many times can you go to the well and find another trick? Like it's just So I don't know. Maybe there's a hybrid or something we can figure out. Make a new show where like I get to be like a Paul Newman on the slap shot and like come off the bench and play a few shifts.
Yeah.
You know, like a player coach hybrid type. You know, hosting and playing. I don't know what it is, but I'm interested in still like I love to compete. All I can say is like I loved watching Tom Brady play football. I can't stand him as a commentator. I hate it, you know? And I love him. That's my guy, but man, and he's got to feel it too, you know? Like there's no competing when you're just Monday morning quarterback in everybody else's game.
Right. Yeah. Well, you don't get that pressure, you know, it's not the, you know, the bottom of the ninth for you when, you know, you're in that spot. And, you know, he probably has that too. But I do think that you would be good at hosting something. And I think that you would bring a lot to it because I feel like you're not afraid of asking a confrontational question. And I think that you would be able to create a lot of drama out of anything that you were a part of.
I appreciate that, man. That's big praise from you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're always so good on these shows and why they keep having you back.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the assignment, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
You could like pussyfoot around and maybe do a little bit better, but you know, that's not what you're going to do.
I can't, I don't want to say who, but I can't play like some people. It's just not in me, you know, like, and I think that's the thing, like in all of these shows, like I recognize when I have to make a move. Okay. So we can sit here and debate whether I actually had to go at Bob the Drag Queen when I did or not. And the answer is probably not right away that day. I probably could have done it the next day or the day after. But the fact of the matter is I came back to the castle that day and I started talking about it. And in my mind, I had to do it right away. And once I started talking about it, now I got to follow through. I can't let that marinate and then the next day he hears about it because then it's the whole thing. But the point is that I will never sit there and be a passenger in a vehicle that's going to crash. I will always grab the wheel. And sometimes it happens early and it means it's going to be my demise. Sometimes it happens later. I'm just not, I don't know. Back in the day, they used to call it a coattail rider. It's not me, bro. I can't do it.
You know, I thought one other thing I wanted to ask you before you go that, you know, we've mentioned about how that on the social media, especially the TikTok and the Instagram, it seems like there's like new people that just discovered who you are.
Yes.
That has your new fan base reached you?
I'm forwarding all of them to my wife so she knows how lucky she is. Yeah, right. She could care less.
Yeah, what was her reaction to all this and the girls?
She's like, "Oh yeah, okay, good. Oh yep. Why don't you have them come over here and see what I have to deal with on a daily basis?"
Yeah, that's
a lot.
Relatable. All right. Yeah. Rob, thank you so much for making some time to go through all this. I know Pooya and I really appreciate it, and the listeners appreciate it too. Anything else you want to tell people to check out?
No, dude. I mean, we got the Deal or No Deal Island after show, but I just wanted to say to you, bro, like you've been doing this a long time. We started this before we even got on the air. I said to you, how do you do it? Like every single day, keeping up with all of it. And it's been pretty impressive to see your growth. I know you just celebrated a big anniversary. And I just wanted to congratulate you, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, especially coming from you. But really, like, how lucky am I that it's 2025 and all of the legends are still on TV, like making new crazy moments for us to talk about. Like this is a real like new golden age of reality TV.
Everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, it's been great.
Simulation.
Yeah, so far so good. All right, Rob, thank you so much. Okay.
All right, brother. Pooya, pleasure to speak with you, brother.
All right.
It's an honor, Rob.